step up the energy in the hall first. Okay, get up from wherever you are. Quickly up. I'm thinking project managers usually do this to their employees and to the teams. We do this to you. You've been sitting in the same spot probably from morning, and you probably have the same neighbors on left and right. Quickly go around the room, get acquainted to people you don't know, introduce yourself real quick, say your name, say where you're from or whatever you want, and change your seats. Go on. You have about 15 seconds. 15 seconds. Go on, move. The idea is for you to move, not for you to reason it out. Go on. You hired someone you don't know. Hi. Go on, quickly, settle down. No. All right, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, thank you so much. A big round of applause to all of you. They say success starts at the end of your comfort zone, right? Most of the time when we go to a training program, we find people we already know. We sit with them. The school last bench and then slowly we dig into our phones and then we start yawning. And I've been on the other side as well. So, Saro I'm not there yet. So, good morning. All right. Yes, sir. Last bencher. Come, I have a seat right up front for you. Or you can come join me on the dais. What's your name?
I switched.
Jay Kumar. He switched from the last bench left side to last bench right side. Alright, quickly. Let's get on to what we're going to be doing today. We take communication for granted. Yes or no? Yes, right? With family, with friends, with people we know, and most importantly, in an organization. Yes? People, hello, hi. Seshadri, good morning. You can connect later. Seshadri's been connecting to everyone, you should know Seshadri. So, we all take communication for granted. Yes, no? The more we age, the more we take it for granted. Yes, no? Most definitely. And you've all been thinking, communication is such a straightforward subject. Why should someone talk to us about communication? That to decode your communication style. I guarantee you, in the next 65, 70 minutes that I have with me, when you walk out of this hall, you're going to learn something very new. If you don't, you can come and ask me, and we can do something that impresses you throughout the day. Alright? Because guaranteed at the end of the session, you're going to learn something new. What do I need from you? I want you to be a little open to change. I want you to ask questions. I want you to make this as interesting as possible. If you start sleeping, my energy dips. And if I start sleeping, your entire Saturday morning goes for a board, right? So talk to me. Ask me questions. If you don't like something that I'm telling you, refute it. Challenge me. Let's come to a consensus, something that we can mutually agree on. All right? Super. So, I want you to be willing to learn because this 1.5 to 2 hours that you're spending here and what I'm spending here is because we want to share some knowledge. So if I'm saying something that you don't agree with, talk back to me. Okay? I'm an entrepreneur. I am a second generation entrepreneur. My dad is a rags to riches story. He came to Chennai with no footwear in 1978. He was a 9th grader. He came and joined a government high school in T Nagar Boys Higher Secondary School. From there, he went on to struggle a lot. He couldn't pay for his own fees, his education. My grandmother had to sell her earrings and her nose rings and her rings in her fingers to make him study. So, a typical guy who's self-made, who wanted to do something about his own life. Fast forward 40 years, we run a 1,100 crore company. We are in 9 verticals. We're about 30 years old in this industry. My house is in Poise Garden, 4 houses from Rajnikanth Sir's house. I drive a luxury car. My dad drives a luxury car. We have about 1,000 odd employees who work with us. All of this possible because this one man decided that he's not going to take no for an answer. He came in, started various things. We're in about 11 different verticals, all various verticals. We're into film production, we're into real estate, I'm into the food processing unit, I have restaurants, we run film theaters. We do everything that is possibly like a challenge that an entrepreneur can take. So obviously, I finished my engineering, I went on and did a master's, I came back to India, and I thought life was cozy. There was a BMW waiting for me. It took me to a brand new office that said Chief of Operations, a beautiful cubicle. Everyone in my office, everybody greeted me. I went and sat 3 years. I thought life was on top. I quickly realized that I was not doing anything on my own. You've seen this movie Santosh Subramaniam? My dad is a little like that. Right? Very self-made but very protective as well. So I realized that I needed to learn things on my own. The big difference that I had from my dad was, my dad came and learned business first, survival skills, got his first customer, then went on to learn English, a bit of Japanese because we trade with the Japanese. He's still learning computers. Every now and then he comes and tells this mail is not going out while he's not connected to the internet. When all of this is happening, this is secondary for him. Contrary to all of that, what is happening to us, or at least to my generation, we came in and first learned English, then a second language. Then we learned computer skills, then we learned dance, Bharatanatyam, music. After all of this was done, they put us through college, they put us through our first job. After 3 years or 5 years in the job, we start asking ourselves, am I actually doing something worthwhile? You probably have a lot of nutwits like this in your organization. All these nutheads are asking themselves, what am I doing? What do they do suddenly, 35, 40 years in? They're like, I'm going to be a photographer. Good, why did you even join Verizon or Accenture or Infosys for this, right? I think the biggest problem that we have is communication. And communication is in different arenas. You might be interested about communication in an organization, but I'm talking about basic human communication. If someone like me, a youngster who's growing up, someone went fast forward 10 years or go back 10 years. When I was in college, if I was given the power of communication to ask what I wanted and to get what I wanted, I'd probably be in a different state. Yes or no? Probably yes, right? So a day in my entrepreneur's journey looks like this, very sad. One day I'm a pauper, one day I'm having some money, another day I'm having some headaches, another day I'm doing whatever I have to do. Today is entirely different. Let's start with the question. Where did the Olympics in 2012 happen? Olympics, 2012, summer. Where did it happen? Beijing? Beijing, no. Beijing was Winter Olympics. Summer Olympics, where did it happen? Sydney. Sydney? No. London, super. Men's 100 meters dash, who came first? Usain Bolt, super. Some of us did not even know that, right? I was in that category, I admitted. Who came second? Second? Sir, second, sir. Nobody knows. Who came third? I know what you're thinking. Second, third, who came fourth? You know what? I did not know the answer to this because frankly, no one knows the answer to all of this. But every time I want to do a session like this and this topic comes up, I try to remember who came second, third, and fourth. But I always get them confused. But the three other guys who came after Usain Bolt were Justin Gatlin, Tyson Gay, and Johan Blake. Now the question is, how much difference do you think they had in time? First, second, and third. Time difference. Milliseconds? Statistically, it is 0.01 seconds. Statistically, it's 0.01 seconds. I'll give you a challenge. When you go to this hall, you stand next to someone else and start running. The difference between you and the other person should be 0.01 seconds. You're all project managers, you've been engineers, you know science well. Do you think it's even possible to have a difference of 0.01 seconds between two people? Probably not. Now tell me this. Usain Bolt, Johan Blake, Justin Gatlin, Tyson Gay, how many hours in a day do you think they practice? Seshadri, how many hours? Rough answer. Estimate. How many hours? 4 hours. 8 hours. They actually practice for 16.5 hours a day. Be it training, be it stretching, be it some kind of a diet exercise, some kind of a motivation. 16.5 hours a day. How many days in a week? 7 days. How many months? How many days in a month? 30 days. How many days in a year? 365 days. And they do this how many years? 4 years before they can get to next Olympics, right? So let's take Justin Gatlin, who lost by 0.01 second. Justin Gatlin goes back home and he starts practicing 365 days in a year for 4 years for 16.5 hours a day. Can he wake up on Sunday and be like, Inni vanda, biryani sabtu thoongla? He probably can, but do you think he would? No, because that agony of losing with Usain Bolt in 0.01 seconds is going to make sure that not one Sunday is he going to sleep for the next 4 years. After all of this treacherous work, he comes there motivated, carrying that flag, the entire nation behind him. He starts to run. When the finish line comes, he's again number 2, and there is a difference of 0.01 seconds. You think it will devastate him? No. No? Yes? It will definitely devastate him. He'll fall down, but like a boxer on a boxing ring, he knows his success is determined by not falling down, but by getting up and running every time. And he runs. Every Olympic, he's back. And so are dozens of other athletes who want to come there, practice, run, and want to win. Now, my quick point to you is that 0.01 second difference was not the difference between winning and losing. It's the goddamn difference between the world remembering you and forgetting you. You and I right here are classic examples of how we don't care to remember who comes second, third, or fourth. Now this edge, the 0.01 second edge that these athletes had, they have it in various numerous ways. But as project managers, as employees of an organization, as people who are aspiring to go up the IT chain, your 0.01 second edge, inevitably, most of the time, is your speculated communication. The way you can impress someone, the way you can tell them what to do, and the way you can motivate your team to do anything else. Saru was talking about trust, Saru was talking about emotional intelligence. I'm going to be touching a little about all of that as well. Alright? So, these are the guys. These are the guys, and this is the order.
Why that aliens, right?
I'm sorry?
Why that aliens, right?
To ask you a question. If I show you this, then you're going to be guessing their names. They also have their names written on everything, right? Anyway, let's quickly go on. How many of you heard of Simon Sinek? Simon Sinek, Golden Circle. Most of you have heard of it. I'm sorry? Absolutely. So Simon Sinek is a superb leadership expert. He talks about a lot of things. He's got free content on his YouTube channel. Go search for him. Simon Sinek talks about the Golden Circle, and I tell you, the last 8 years in my life have changed simply because of a small directional shift in the way I look at things. Simon Sinek says there is how, why, and what. Starting with what, how, and why. And mostly, good people, people and organizations start with what. They ask themselves, what do you want to do? Why, how do you do it? And seldom, rarely does one come into the fact of why do you have to do what you do. Now you look at successful companies. You look at successful companies and their advertisements. Take an Apple product. Someone much like our Saro, very handsome, has a shiny bald head, comes up on the screen. And he does not tell you about what the product is or why or how you need to use the product or how you need to buy the product. He starts with why. He'll instantly say, today in your life, you probably need this piece of technology to do something superbly important in your life. And he's talking about all the why that you need in your life. The last slide will introduce the product. So easy, efficiently. He's not even talking about what and how. So Simon Sinek goes on to say that when you know why you're doing what it is that you're doing, you seldom need to worry about what and how you're doing it. Let's take Toastmasters, for example. Me and Sarah are from Toastmasters. The classic example, you go ask someone, what do you do in Toastmasters? They give you an answer. You ask them, how do you do Toastmasters? They tell you, we meet week on week, we do this, we have prepared sections, we have impromptu sections. You ask them, why do they do Toastmastering? And they probably don't have an answer for you. The ones who've successfully been able to take the skills from Toastmasters and use it in their personal lives are the ones who've cracked the reason as why they are in Toastmasters. So quickly, close your eyes. I'm going to be doing a lot of silly things. You'll have to, play with me. Close your eyes quickly and ask yourselves a question. Why are you doing what you're doing right now in your life? You can ask a personal question. You can ask a professional question. Just go with me. Close your eyes. Trust me. Ask yourself this question. Why do you do what you're doing right now in your life? Alright? Open up your eyes.
என்னையா பண்றீங்க ஒரே ஒரு ஊத்து வருங்க நான் வரணுங்க முடிஞ்ச கேட்போங்க சொல்லுங்க என்ன பண்றீங்க ஒரு சில தண்ணி எடுத்துக்கங்க அத தோசைக்கல்ல ஊத்தி அதுக்குன்னு வழக்கமா ஒரு விளக்கமா வச்சிருப்பீங்களா ஆமாங்க அத அடிப்பக்கமா திருப்பி சரிங்க வளர்த்து ஒரு 4 இழுப்பு சரிங்க நல்லா கழுவி விட்டு சரிங்க ஒரு கிண்ணம் நிறைய மாவு எடுத்து பெரிய ரவுண்டாவும் இல்லாம சின்ன ரவுண்டாவும் இல்லாம சரிங்க பொதுவா ஒரு ரவுண்ட ஊத்தி 4 வெங்காயத்தை போட்டாங்க பொடியா நறுக்கி அப்படியே மேலாக தூவி விட்டு சரிங்க ஒரு நீளமான காரத்தை அதையும் பொடியா நறுக்கி அப்படியே மேலாக தூவி விட்டு சரிங்க ஒரு 16 கரண்டி நெய்ய எடுத்து சரிங்க அதுல 6 கரண்டி நெய்ய உள் சைடு அப்படியே லேசா கலாவி விட்டு சரிங்க 10 கரண்டி நெய்ய தோசைக்கு வெளி சைடு அப்படியே மேலாக கலாவி விட்டு சரிங்க இட்லி பொடி இருக்குங்களா அது அப்படியே அள்ளி மலை சாரல் மாதிரி அது மேலாக அப்படியே தேய விட்டு சரிங்க பொட்டினால அப்படி ஒரு பருத்து இப்படி ஒரு பருத்து அப்படி பருத்தி விட்டு அப்படியே ரெட்டி கிழமை முருக விட்டு அழகா மடிச்சு கமகம ஒரு ஊத்தப்பட்டு எடுத்துக்கலாம் சரிங்க அன்னைக்கு ஒரே வார்த்தையில ஊத்த போட்டு
as much as we enjoy a comedy like this, does it ever strike us that we do things like this in our own life? ஒரு project explain பண்ணுவான், in this case you. And on the other side, this fellow is nodding his head so much. He's like, understood sir, super sir, you're already able to visualize the end result. Aha, the code will come like this. When the code comes, it's probably for a snake and ladder game. Right? Happened to you many times? So let's quickly intervene, keep the comedy aside, quickly intervene and understand and retrospect into yourself. Why do we do what we do? Why do we do this? When someone takes so much effort to communicate something, we don't stop them. Even if we know what they're getting to, we don't stop them. We let them exhaust their energy. We ask every other question that you probably need not be asking in that scenario. And after that, you ignore everything that was said and do what you wanted to do. Ladies and gentlemen, my first takeaway for you is when someone is using all their energy to come and tell something to you, it means that they need some specific stuff. Gone are the days when you can be a generalist. Today are days when you need to be a specialist and have general skills. You'll agree with that more often, right? So if you need to be a specialist and you need to have general skills, it means you should have general adaptability skills, general listening skills, but you specifically know what kind of a problem you're trying to solve. So write this down, note it down wherever you want in your minds, on your phones. The first thing that you're going to be doing is when details have been put out there somewhere, it means you need to be following it. Otherwise, you're not going to take the effort to come and write something there. He needed something very specifically, and the minute it is not acknowledged from the other side, the scope is already lost. All right? Let's quickly move on. The next lesson that I want to talk to you about, you've all heard this many, many times. Communication is literally not about what you say. It's about what the other person understands. Now, I studied in Padma Seshatri. How many of you know Padma Seshatri? The glorious days of Padma Seshatri, not right now. If the kids are going there now, that's a whole different school. So I studied in Padma Seshatri. When I graduated, I almost every time thought that my great-grandfather was William Shakespeare himself. How Peter English? One fine day, I learned the very hard way around that there was a very difficult situation that's happening. My doors got locked in my apartment, in my house, about 1 or 2 in the night. I'm not able to go in. And for one straight hour, I'm struggling to do whatever I have to do to get in. Phone is not working. No one is picking the phone. I'm banging on the door. There was this watchman who was in the next house. For about 20 minutes, I explained the problem of me not getting into the house in English. Speak and span pure William Shakespeare British English. After 30 minutes, that fellow was like, "Sir, khana khayega?" English. The essence is very simple. Most of the times, we deal with people who don't understand the language we are speaking or the body language that we have, or probably don't share the intention that we are sharing right now with them. Your goal is not to speak in a great language. Your goal is not even to speak in a language that you are capable of speaking in. Your goal is to speak in a language, style, preference, and understanding that the other person is capable of understanding. So quickly close your eyes again. Reflect in your own lives. How many times in a day do you speak in a language? That can be body language, vocal language. You speak in a tone. You speak in context that you are aware of, but no one else around you is aware of. Or probably the guy you're trying to tell this to has no clue about it. Reflect on that. Store that somewhere in your mind. Write it in a piece of paper. Let's move on. Okay? They say to be trusted is a greater compliment than being loved. I just got out of that love phase, got married to the love of my life, so that love phase is now gone. Now honeymoon phase also over. Tissue phase as well. So for me, for a long time, I thought love was the greatest feeling in earth. Now after marriage, after a year, when there are a lot of complications that arise in the house, my wife moved from a different state, different language, different culture, different religion. The biggest compliment for me today is not that my wife loves me, but that my wife trusts me. Let's quickly go on to a goodie story. So there's this phone call that comes to a kid who's gone to do his master's in Philadelphia. The call is from back home in Bombay or Chennai. Dad calls and says, "Son, you know what? This is done. I can't do this any longer. Every time you and my mom fight, me and your mom fight, and we are lost at this time. This is getting beyond my nerves. I'm not going to be able to sustain this relationship anymore. I'm getting out of this relationship, right? Divorce now." And he puts down the phone. The guy freaks out. He calls his dad back and he's like, Dad, listen, you know what? I'll come there. In the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, I'll be there. Let's come there. You know what? Let's just relax for a few days. Let Christmas get over, and then let's sit and think what we're going to do about this. Until then, please, for God's sake, don't do something. He puts down the phone, calls his sister in California, and says, "Aga, teri mom and dad are fighting." And I think this is endless, man. We have to go and solve this. She's like, "I can't come, dude. I have a lot of things here. My semester is starting." He's like, "No, you have to come. I'm booking tickets. Both of us are going." Right? They land in Chennai. The Christmas is over. After Christmas is over, they sit on the table. When the discussion is going to start, I'll give you a little hint about what happened. The dad put down the phone after speaking to the son, looked at his wife and said, "Honey, I convinced the kids to come for Christmas. Now start preparing everything else." Fast forward. Christmas has happened. Everybody is calm. The son and daughter are thinking, Parala, they at least maintain decency during Christmas. Now let's address the elephant in the room. They're all sitting in a family dinner around the table. Slowly the son starts broaching the topic. Dad, by the way, you called me the other day, and the dad starts laughing hysterically. Right? They explain what happened. The kids have a laugh. Everything settles down. They're like, thank goodness everything went on easy. The kids go back to US. Imagine, unfortunate for the family. 2 years later, the mom and dad are really fighting. Cooker not thrown on dad's face. Okay. Now, the dad is calling to say that they're really getting a divorce. A very quick, simple, logical explanation to all of this is, they've already been fooled once. Now, they all have great love, affection against each other, family, together, they believe, trust each other. But then once the trust was misused, the trust that was misused will be remembered by the dad as a little prank. But the son will remember it very emotionally. All through the journey when he got to Chennai and during Christmas, this guy was constantly thinking, when is hell going to break loose? When is hell going to break loose? When is hell going to break loose? You think it's going to be very easy for him to adapt to reality very soon? He's gonna, once fall, twice shy, right? You get hurt once, you're shy twice. So he's probably never going to be able to trust his dad very seriously anytime soon. At least he's going to ask, Appa, nejama solriya, koi solriya. Dad will get even more furious. Idala na koi ukita koi solriya, blah blah blah. Another fight will come, right? Quick example. They say it takes years to build trust, but a few seconds to shatter it. Come on, we've all faced this. Trust with friends, trust with relationships, trust with loved ones, and now increasingly trust issues in an organization. Your employee looks straight in your eyes and says that he's committed to delivering a project, goes behind your back and says, project yes, no. I have employees who do that. Youngsters who are only 17, 18 who join for an internship give me the I don't care attitude and the middle finger to me on my face, right? So we are in an era where millennials are all gone. Now technology geeks have come in who, half my employees come to my office in shorts, they clock in at 12 in the afternoon and stay up till 2 o'clock. Because of whom I have 2 shifts of janitors working around the clock. They don't put what they take in place, they don't switch off their computers, whole new breed, right? So I'm going to be asking you a few simple questions. First question is, close your eyes, and raise your hands honestly if you have trust issues with anyone in your life right now. Go on, close your eyes, raise your hands. Super. Put down your hands, that was almost half the hall. Usually what I do if this is an organization, the next question will be, put up your hands if you have trust issues with anyone else in this room right now. And a few hands will slowly go up and they want to quickly put it down. I'll ask them to hold their hands and I'll ask everyone to look around and see how many other people are holding their hands up. You know what? The first challenge in communication, in trust, is to realize the fact that you have trust issues with someone else and to communicate it to them. Straight on the face, hit the nail on the head, address the elephant in the room and tell them, dude, don't mistake me for this, but I have some issues with you. And you know what? These are more deep, sensational, emotional issues. It's called trust. Hit it right out on them. That's probably going to help you ever in your life. Now, quickly tell me, someone, what is respect? From the back benches, sir, my friend, respect. Your definition of respect. One word, one sentence, whatever you want.
Listening.
Listening. Okay. Respect. Respect. Sir, give and take. Super. Respect.
Understanding.
Understanding. I'm sorry, sir.
It's a yield of trust.
Yield of trust. Okay. Respect. Just give me respect in your own words.
Treating someone how we
Not
want.
about appealing.
Treating someone how you want. Okay.
Not about appealing.
Appreciation. Can we also say respect is because of position, because of title, because of status? Many times. Respect.
That is a hallucinatory respect.
Hallucinatory respect. Okay. That's your understanding. So some people say respect is because of a title. You usually respect someone because of a title. You don't need to like them, but you still respect them because they have a title, or they have the money, or they have a society and status, they have power. Maybe yes. So what's trust? Trust. Belief. What else? Words.
Trust is like glass.
Trust is like glass. Super. What else? Trust is earned. Nice. What else? Trust. Faith. Super. Quickly. Are they different? Respect and trust. Are they different?
Yes.
Yes. Can they also be same?
No.
Interconnected? Who says interconnected? Okay. Who else says interconnected? How many of you say it's the same? You can perceive it however you want, but trust and respect are the same. Anyone in the hall? Yes? No?
You can't respect the person
So,
if you don't trust them.
You can't respect a person if you don't trust them.
You respect a person, but you don't trust them.
If you trust a person, can you also respect them?
Yes.
Yes. So it's interlinked. but it's not mutually exclusive, right? So if you trust someone, you can respect them, but simply because you respect someone, you can't trust them, right? I want you to get this difference very straight in your head. Now, next activity. Close your heads, close your eyes real quick. Think of all your employees who respect you. Think of all your employees who trust you. Go ahead. Mark all those fellows who only respect you. Your ideology is to go back and try and earn their trust and change them from the left side to the right side. Okay, open your eyes. Someone very nicely gave me a definition once of how you can differentiate between respect and trust. He said when you trust somebody, you can look away from them. When you respect somebody, you look up to them. When you don't trust somebody, you keep looking at what they have to do. When you don't respect somebody, you look away and do whatever you want to do.
Respect is external, trust is internal.
Can be, right? So the quick activity here for you is to try and identify the members in your team or the entire team if they have respect or trust on you. Ladies and gentlemen, mark my words, if they only have respect on you, it's very difficult to get your task done. They're going to say something, but it's going to be a superficial yes. They're not going to probably wholeheartedly accept what they're going to be doing. So your challenge, after you understand this session, is to go back and try and see if you can earn and garner their trust. Alright? Let's move on.
By the way, Sastharam, respect is one of the 4 pillars of PMI.
PMI, fabulous, fabulous, nice. Even Toastmasters has respect. We say rice.
Respect is learned because of a status or a fear of fact, but then trust is not kind of not will not follow.
We will get into it. So at the end of the session, if you still have this question, you can ask me, okay? Now, when someone believes you, something miraculous happened, they trust you, right? A relationship without trust is very hard to gauge. It's like kannagatti kaatla vittamari. You're always second guessing. Is he got the right intention? Is he doing this with integrity? Does he have credibility? You're always second guessing, right? It's very difficult. It burns your energy simply by trying to guess what's happening in that relationship. So you want to be on the safe spot in the relationship. The spot you want to be is that someone trusts you. When someone trusts you, they believe you, relationship magically works, right? So quickly, I want answers from the audience. What do you need for survival in this earth? One thing that you need.
Money.
Money, super. What else?
To be tough.
To be tough. What else? Adaptability. Okay. PMI project managers wherever answer the general food, water. You need food, water also, right? Food, water, shelter. What else? Usual suspects gone. Appreciation. Super. Conflicts. You need conflicts. Wow. Super. Sir, this is not appraisal meeting, sir. You don't have to.
Most important thing, Wi-Fi, sir.
Wi-Fi you need. Wife also you need, sir. Go back to that. No lunch for you. Quickly. So, survival, different people have different perspectives for it, right? Different people say different things. But tell me one thing. We're all called social animals. Why do they say we are social animals? Because we need company. Now, all of you said multiple things. Sir, I'll give you Wi-Fi. I'll give you super fast Wi-Fi. I'll put you in a room for 10 days. Knowing Seshadri, in 10 minutes you'll start crying. You need people, yes or no? So, relationships are everything that you need for survival in the first place. Agreed? Super. Let's come back to something called culture, right? What is a community or a culture? Your answers, your perceptions. What's a community?
The way of living.
Way of living. What else? Similar thinking. I want you to remember that. What else? Shared beliefs, shared values. What else? So can we say when a group of people with similar beliefs, values, policies, interests or likes come together, a community or a culture is formed? That basically pretty much sums up how religion came up into place, caste came up into place, groups came up into place. School ku pona Rajini fans will be one group, right? Maths teacher pudikkalangiradhu or group. Science teacher alaga irukanga or group. Yes or no? What differentiates these groups is a very simple factor that they have something in common, but that is uncommon with another group, right? So can we say familiarity breeds commonality, or the other way around? Commonality breeds familiarity. Yes? When you have something common with yourselves, there is a familiar feeling that surrounds you. Yes? And when that familiar feeling comes together, a group, culture, or a community is formed. Yes or no? Very true, right? So let's quickly move on. Okay, let's quickly move on. Who's here from outside Chennai? Anyone from outside Chennai? Sonda. Where are you from, sir? Delhi. Anyone else from Delhi here? Anyone else from Delhi here? Super. Your name now? Priyanka. Sir, your name?
Rajkumar.
So Priyanka, Rajkumar, do you know each other? Before you came? At least until this morning? No. Priyanka, everyone in Delhi is your friend? Yes, no. Absolutely not. When you came out to Chennai, You're thronging to wait to see people from Delhi? Yes or no?
Of course.
Of course, right? So now you know Rajkumar is from Delhi. You know what? Boom! Rajkumar and Priyanka are like, Appa, Chola Bhatura, this, that. They're talking about Golgappa. Instantly one connection happens. Okay? Now Priyanka, let's say Priyanka goes off to the Delhi metro or London metro, even better. Priyanka is traveling the London metro. Now she's very bored. She's traveling like this slowly. She's on the London metro. Suddenly she hears a language with an Indian dialect, not even Hindi, maybe Bhojpuri, maybe something. Okay? Priyanka instantly looks back and let's say your name, sir. She looks at Prasanna. She's like, Prasanna, you're from Delhi. He's like, no, I'm from Chennai. He's like, anyway, I'm an Indian. No, boom, connection. Yes or no? Because at that point in time, what Priyanka's mind, body, and soul is looking for is some kind of a familiar situation, place, thing, and in the form of Prasanna, she got that boom connection. Now Prasanna and Priyanka start hitting it out very coolly. They're like, you know what, this place is horrible, man. I want to go back to Delhi. Even if the metro was crowded there, Delhi metro is the best. Yes, Priyanka? She's like, he read my mind. Delhi metro is the best. Right? So all of this connection happens. What happened? Why did this connection happen? Why did this sudden belief or affection or emotion or this love happen? Simply because of the fact that they have something in common. In this place, the commonality was not even Delhi. The commonality was Indian. When they are in Chennai, they have no patriotism. Sir, last time for Independence Day, did you raise a flag and all? You saw Patti Mandram house and had Pongal. True, right? But what happens to us is, whenever we are surrounded by things that we don't like, we try to look for common elements, simple common elements. Now let's get to something more interesting. Priyanka and Prasanna start to talk. Prasanna is telling Priyanka, hey, you know what? There is this Gujarati restaurant, man. When you get down from station number 2 on this metro, go to this Gujarat metro. Priyanka has already decided that's where her lunch is going to be. Because she's already trusting Prasanna, right? The connection has already happened. So Priyanka gets out of the Delhi metro, starts walking, the London metro, starts walking. And someone comes and boom, hits on Priyanka. Priyanka's carrying a few books. It falls, her handbag falls down. That fellow tries to help everything up. Priyanka's taking all of it. Priyanka's feeling angry. That fellow's feeling guilty. That fellow, maybe me, I'm saying, sorry Priyanka, I really did not mean to do this. Priyanka's like, that's okay, yaar. And then I look at Priyanka, I'm a foreigner, okay? I look at Priyanka and I'm like, this girl's from India. I'm like, hey, there's a beautiful Indian restaurant, probably 2 streets away from here. You should go there. Priyanka's like, they do that. She comes away, right? For Priyanka, that guy's words meant nothing because random stranger who she thinks is doing her a favor. On the other hand, Prasanna's words are like written in gold. Prasanna told it should be super well. Yes or no? Now, contrary to what Priyanka is believing, I am a food blogger. I review restaurants in the city and I told her the best restaurant that I've been to that I've written on my book. My credible information was passed out as bogus. But Prasanna's bogus information. Prasanna only landed in London this morning. He's never been to the restaurant. Someone told him, Macha, Prasanna passed the information. Priyanka took it with open hands. Happens? Yes? No. A simple example of how trust or commonality is built in places where you seek for something that is interesting. So trust is very interesting. Trust is an emotion. When people are surrounded by positive vibes, when people are surrounded by similar beliefs and ideas, something remarkable happens. That remarkability that happens around them is this feeling called trust, right? So let's look at how to build trust. We've all heard about Stephen Covey. Some of you have read his books. He says a very simple 2-step process to build trust. It's going to be very simple. You're going to be like, avladana. He says, make a commitment, do it. 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 You might think it's a very simple 2-step process, but the idea is to make it in a loop. Every time you make a commitment, you do it. Every time you say you're going to do something, you do it. Every time you promise to come to a PMA chapters meeting, you come. Every time you promise to vote for a PMA chapters election, you vote. Eventually, the trust factor is something that you earn. What happens? You become someone who abides by that simple 2-step process in your mind. But you know what? We're all humans, right? A lot of times we go away from our track. So there's a more comprehensive approach that you can do. It says, state your intent, signal your process, and then do it. Especially when your process that you're doing is a longer process. The duration is 6 months, 1 year, or the project has multiple deadlines, milestones. You want to follow something like this. Let me give you a clear example. When I was coming here on the OMR Rajiv Gandhi Express Highway, I'm on lane 1 in the center, okay, or in the middle, right? Now I'm driving at 90, 100 kilometers per hour and I want to shift to the right lane. I want to shift to the right lane. I can shift. Do I do that? Or do I turn on my signal indicators, look around, and then shift? Now you think, I want to shift, I will shift. Imagine a poor Santro car that is coming behind me, elbow. That lady has no clue if I'm even driving on the right lane or not. She does not know which GPS to follow, Google Maps or the one that the husband gave. Now she is right behind me. If I suddenly take a turn, is she going to be confused? Yes, no. She's going to be swearing everything possibly on a Saturday morning on me. I'm going to get all that negative energy. For the perspective of people around us, for the benefit of people around us, we signal that we're going to change lanes and then we move. Very similarly, when you're in a process, when you're in a project, when you're in a team, when you're doing something where a lot of people are involved, don't just say you'll do something, especially when the milestone is days ahead, months ahead. Tell them you'll do something and keep telling them how you're doing it. Signal your process. Give them a status update. Eventually, at the end of it, when you do it, the trust will solidify. It's like this. You give them a statement, and every time you do something favorable to that statement, trust starts forming. And at the end, when you do it, trust solidifies. That's the strongest level of trust an employee can have on another employee or a leader can have on their employees. Okay? Let's quickly move on. So, you've heard about this word credibility, right? What do you think of when you hear the word credibility? What comes to your mind? Sir, quickly, whatever comes to your mind. Credibility. Dependability. Reputation. What else? A lot of things, right? Basically, credibility can be split into two things. One is an emotional quotient, the other is a physical quotient. The emotional quotient is called character. They have two subsets called integrity and intent. And then there is a more physical characteristic called competence, which is capability and result. Together, they form this beautiful five-letter word called trust. Let's go a little more into it, okay? So, integrity. Can someone tell me what integrity is? Integrity. What comes to your mind?
Honest.
True to oneself. Honest. What else?
What many of our politicians don't have.
What many of our politicians don't have. Super. What else? So integrity is basically honesty, humility, courage, and congruence, right? I'll give you a beautiful example I read once. There's this little flight, a charter flight, with only about 100 members on the flight. The flight is sailing well. Just when the flight is cruising in a good altitude, an engine catches fire. Just as one engine catches fire, another engine catches fire as well. The oxygen masks start to deploy. The flight is having turbulence. The flight is taking a nose dip. The pilot can be heard screaming into his radio saying, Mayday, 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 AI-124, declaring Mayday, we need emergency assistance. Please deploy some helicopters to this coordinates on the Bay of Bengal. Just as all of this is happening, everybody in the flight is screaming, Ayyo, I did not see Vani Rani today before 8 a.m. I don't know what it is. Ayyo, I promised my mom that I'd take her out. It's been 4 years I've never taken her out. What am I going to do? All your past sins and karmas are coming back to you. You're praying to God, I should have done this. I should have told sorry to my friend 10 years back. When am I going to do this? Everything is running in your mind. You're all Indians. You're all Indians. So the curiosity takes the better of us. There's one guy sitting in the front in a very coat suit, very agitated, right? He's like, you're going to die, you're going to die, this is going to die. He looks at a very calm looking little girl, 4 years old, sitting next to him and playing with a Cinderella doll, right? I'm looking at the girl and I'm thinking, I'm thinking this girl is going to die. She doesn't even know this. How sad, right? And then I'm again, getting back into my and then suddenly I look at the happiness that this kid is having and I can't accept it. Dude, everybody in the flight is agitated. Everybody is going to die. How can this little kid alone laugh? How can this little kid smile? So I'm looking at the kid and I'm like, beta, you know what? They're all going to die. The kid says, no, we're not going to die. And then she starts playing with the Cinderella again, right? Now I'm becoming more angry. My judgment was questioned. My ego is now questioned. I'm looking at, no beta, you don't understand. These are all big things. This is not like that little plane you have in your hand. You see that engine, it's on fire. You see the other engine, it's on fire. Oxygen masks have already been deployed. I've seen in National Geography that maximum 15 minutes the flight can fly. After that, it's going to crash. Definitely, you're all going to die. I'm very sorry, beta. The kid is like, no, you're not going to die. I get super agitated. I'm like, idiot, you imbecile. You don't even know what's going to happen in your life. Look at me. I'm 40 years old. I know what's happening. I'm the team leader of this company. You know how much profits I do. I know this is not going to work. I start screaming at the girl. The girl very coolly says, no, uncle, we are not going to die. I'm like, who told you? She says, the pilot said so. Why do you want to trust the pilot? Do you not know what's happening around you? Why do you want to trust the pilot? Because the pilot is my daddy. Right? Quick little example, quick little story that I read. For him, he's taking everything that is situation around him to depend on what's going to happen and to take a judgment call if what the pilot said is going to be true or not. On the contrary, the pilot just reassured everybody on the flight saying, Mayday, Mayday, engines on fire. I'm going to do everything possible to land this piece of aircraft on water. Now this little kid does not know circumstances, does not know status, does not know society, does not give a damn about anything around her. For her, her father's word is integral. She knows that father will not tell lies to her. For her, father said she'll be saved, she'll be saved. Simplest example. Okay, let's quickly come into intent. What is intent? Intent.
Objective.
Intention. I did it intentionally. Hidden agenda? No, that's the opposite. Intention is when you say you'll do something and you do the same thing and you have good intention about someone else, right? Your mom usually has good intentions on you. She might say, go sleep early, don't watch football every night, that's not good for your health. You might not like what she's saying, but she's got good intentions on you, that you're going to wear specs very soon. You will not get married if you start wearing specs. Girls nowadays don't marry people who are not wearing specs at all. It's all over. Right? All of this is going to be happening. I'll give you a good example of what intent is. This is again a real life story. You can witness it if you go to a national park in South Africa. Giraffes giving birth is a spectacular scene, they say. Right? A giraffe mom that is pregnant will labor around that entire park for hours together. Crowd starts pouring in, everybody surrounds that entire park. They are eagerly waiting for that auspicious time when the giraffe will deliver a baby. And every minute that they're all waiting there, they're appreciating Mother Nature. They're like, how cute, how nice. Do you even imagine how that baby is going to look? You know what? Nature is superb. Everybody's saying all of this, and the giraffe gets into labor pain. Just as the giraffe gets into labor pain, the giraffe starts crowning. And the little baby starts coming out, the giraffe starts coming out from the mom, right? Just as all of this is happening, one very sharp, intelligent, smart guy in the audience says, guys, look, the giraffe is 6 feet, 7 feet tall, yeah? The baby is going to drop. How cruel. Can't these guys put the baby down? Can't these guys put the giraffe down? Maybe the giraffe can squat. How about we put the giraffe down? Maybe it can lie down. It will be easier on the baby, right? I mean, it's 6 feet. Look at how the giraffe is going to fall. And just then, everybody who was praising Mother Nature is now cursing it. How cruel, yaar! How can Mother Nature do this? Just as everybody is saying this, the crowding becomes big. The baby starts coming out, and even before you can realize, the baby falls. The minute the baby falls, there's a hush, a loud hush from the audience. They're like, what happened, man? This is so sad. I'm leaving. I don't even want to Twitter about this. I don't want to Instagram. As all of this is happening, you would expect that the mother bends over, comforts the little one, licks it, and embraces it, right? Contrary to all of that, the mother takes a step back, bends down, takes his front legs, and gives a big, mighty kick. The baby giraffe literally goes 1 or 2 feet flying. And as it does that, you're screaming, how idiotic this is, atrocious. The park authorities to shoot or something. Come on, man, this is, I didn't sign up for this. All of this is coming. Even as you're getting up, picking your bags, you want to leave, the mother goes 2 more steps, take 2 more steps, and gives an even bigger kick. The giraffe keeps kicking until the baby finally starts to stand. And you know how giraffes' legs are, right? Very puny and tiny and tall. And just when the kicking is going to not stop, this baby musters the courage to stand. Mucus covered all over the body. This baby is now wobbly and it gets up and it's trying to stand. And the mom, you think the mom is going to stop. The mom does not want to stop. It goes 1 more step back and starts running, and the baby starts running away. 2 minutes, you're cursing, you're scolding everyone available there. No announcement from the park yet. You're asking, why did I have to understand this gory scene? Why did I have to witness this? And slowly the giraffe goes looking for this baby. This baby, out of a little fear, comes out. The mother starts licking the mucus, starts kissing it, starts comforting it, and then the park ranger announces in the microphone. He says, ladies and gentlemen, we wanted you to witness the entire spectacularity of nature's intent on how a baby should be born. He goes on to substantiate saying, the mother knows that when a baby grows big, the first thing that it would need is to have strength in its body in the tiny little legs that it has. If the baby does not surrender to the nature and it cannot hold its weight in the beginning, then forever it's going to look like a polio attacked giraffe. 1. 2. The mother also wants to teach the biggest lesson that a baby giraffe can learn. The lesson being, if you're sitting down in a herd, it's going to be very difficult for you to use your long legs to stand up and stand and run when a pack of wolves or a group of hyenas come and attack you. So ladies and gentlemen, you felt bad, you were crying, you were cursing, but the intention that the mother had on the baby is the mother's intent all the time. That's the best example I can ever give you about intent. Now tell me about capability. What's capability? Ability, strength, what else? Capability. Generally ability and strength, right? Give me an example. I'm 30 years old now, okay? When I was about 2-3 years old, I had this funny habit. I'd get up on a table, I'd get up on a parapet wall, whatever was available in a height in my house, and I'd be like, Daddy, Daddy, catch me, okay? My dad has the best intentions towards me. I have integrity on him that he'll catch me, he'll not rip me down. Without the fear of being dropped, I jump from 4-5 feet high, my dad catches me, right? Fast forward 30 years. I'm 31 years now, 98 kilos in weight, okay? Now I go stand on a parapet wall. Daddy, Daddy, catch me. What happened? Chutney, if I fall on my dad. Ladies and gentlemen, integrity and intent have not changed. He still has the right intentions on me. I have the best of the integrity on my dad. The only thing time has changed is a thing called capability, right? Today, my dad does not have the capability of weighing me out. He doesn't have the capability of holding me down because I have outgrown him. Whatever intention and integrity you have, intention and integrity are emotional quotients. You can't say Prasanna has 2 kilos of integrity. Karthik sir has 5 kilos or liters of intent. You can't. But your capability can be measured, right? So be very careful of where you are in your life because your capability is one factor that can always be measured around you. Now, if you have all these 3 things, you still need one last thing to survive in this world, to have great credibility. That is called results. Irrespective of what you do, if your results don't speak for yourself, you're going to be called an empty talking barking dog, right? So you need to make sure that you have both integrity and intent in your character, capability results in your life, right? Quick pictures. When you all took out the phones, I was thinking Sarah was that pretty. Then I realized you were taking photos of her. Right. So now you're all asking yourself the question, dude, I know about all of this. You've reminded me, I'll go practice. But I have this challenge. Every time I want to communicate with someone else, there is this gap. I'm well read. I know what communication is. I remember that communication is not about what I say, it's about what the other person understands. Despite all of this, there is friction here. There are a few people in my organization who I never seem to have good time with. Some people are already grinning. They're like, how did he know about me? Astrologer. So, for you, all of you, I have a little activity that I want to do. Can I get 2 volunteers to distribute this real quick, please? Just give them one handout each. This side and that side. If you have spares, bring them back. I want you to get your pens or your pencils out real quick. Don't start looking into it yet. Just get it, keep it right there. Okay? Don't start looking into it yet. If you have extras, pass them out in the front. Alright, okay. So this is called a psychometric analysis. You've all probably done a psychometric analysis in your life. A psychometric analysis appeals to your subconscious mind, not your conscious mind. Okay? This was developed in Harvard. We used this in Toastmasters. It's produced a lot of results. When I was heading the district for South India and Sri Lanka, this is one of the things that clearly let our leaders identify their communication styles. We are an organization that stands for communication leadership. How will it be if one of our leaders is not able to communicate properly, right? So we use this technique. We've used this worldwide in about 102 districts, and it's produced a lot of results. This is what you're going to be doing. You have exactly 12 minutes to fill the sheet. Why do I say 12 minutes? An average human mind, when subconsciously answering to a question, needs only 12 minutes to pick up 40 answers. If you're taking anything more than that, then you are putting too much energy into it. Read it real quick. Select one statement that you agree with. Okay? So every question has 2 statements. Every question has 2 statements. You're going to be quickly selecting one statement. I have some pens with me here. I know a lot of you would come 1800. I know who I'm giving the pen to, okay? That's all. Okay, so you have 80 questions in it. They're all grouped in 2. You're going to be selecting one statement that you agree with. There's no right, there's no wrong. Read them once, and as you read, quickly select an answer. That's all, right? Go on. Your time starts now. don't have a pen, you can even use your nail to just mark it if you can, quickly. I know averagely you should have finished the first side. Don't put too much energy into it. You can help your neighbors with a pen if you have. Ladies and gentlemen, take it very fast. Remember, it's your subconscious mind. Don't consciously try to argue the question. If you don't understand the question, please feel free to ask. It's better to be not too clear than to be embarrassed. So ask. I don't want you to get wrong results. There's a word called procrastinate. If you don't understand the word, it's pushing something for future. Right? It's pushing something for future. There's a word called extrapolate in one of those questions. Extrapolate is to you have some data, you try to guess something. You try to see a pattern there. That's extrapolate. Any other questions? Ask me. There are extra sheets in any row. Please pass them to the After you've ticked all the answers, there's a summary sheet. Okay, you re-tick the same answers you ticked in the beginning in the last sheet. Okay, there's a summary sheet. Whatever answers you ticked in the first place, you re-tick them on the last sheet. It's just a summary to know which answers you've ticked. That's how we score you. I'd suggest you pull the paper apart, keep the score sheet next to you, and start ticking all the answers that you filled in the first place. You understand how the scoring works, right? Whatever answers you ticked, let's say you ticked 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 13. You re-tick them on the last page, on the summary page. Whatever answers you're ticking, okay, you re-tick them on the last page. Let's say, so 2, 3, 5, எங்க பார்த்து டிக் பண்ணுங்க. 2 எங்க 2 டிக் பண்ணுங்க. ஆமா 3 எங்க பார்த்து டிக் பண்ணுங்க. Whatever you ticked in the first sheets, find them. The numbers are jumbled in the summary sheet, so just run your finger through. Sorry? That's the question itself. Pick one. Yes. முன்னாடி நல்லா நம்பர் இருக்கும் 1 3 5 7 10 find 1 3 5 7 8 You have about 3 minutes. Go ahead and summarize them. Anyone has finished, you can be kind enough to pass your pens to one who don't have a pen. One, 3, 5, 7. 1, 3, 5, 7.
If anyone has already finished the summary sheet, ask me what to do next. 3 minutes on counting. Come on, guys, we need to finish the session. Okay, if you finish picking the summary sheet, you have 4 sections there. Style 1, style 2, style 3, style 4. You count the number of tick marks you have in each section or each style and you write the total there. Anyone need the pen? Okay, now when you count the tick marks and write it down, the total of your 4 styles should not be more than 40. Should not be less than 40. You have 80 questions, you've selected 40 ticks, so you need to have a total of 40 on the last sheet. If you don't, then you've missed a question. Go back and see it because that can change your style. There is one for situation like this. You all will grab the same thing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, 1 minute. Let's finish this. If you're taking more time, that means you're someone who's spending too much time analyzing the answers. Don't. It's subconscious. Make sure your total is 40. I'll give you 1 more minute, people. Let's wrap up. I have to finish this session. My session depends on your speed. Oh, sorry. I'm going to give it exactly 60 seconds. You have to play along with me here. Okay, so we're going to do a quick reshuffle according to the styles. Those of you who have a high score for style 1, come to the first 2 rows. Those of you who have a high score for style 1, come to the first 2 rows. The others, please move back. Those of you who have a high score for style 2, occupy the next 2 rows. Those of you who have high score for style 2, occupy second, third and fourth rows. Those of you who have high score for style 3, occupy 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm guessing that's the majority. And those of you who have a high score for style 4, you can remain in the last bench. But by all means, usually the last benches will have to move. Let's see if that works here. Sir, you're not style 4, no. I can tell guarantee. If you're sitting in the back row, you're not style 4. Correct? Correct. Style 1, style 2, style 3, style 4. Quickly reassemble and sit down. I want you to look at people who have a similar style. Let's do some understanding here. If you have a tie, sit between those rows. That's fine. Just make yourself comfortable. There's nothing wrong with a tie. It's like a cusp in your zodiac sun sign. You just share two qualities. And let me also tell you this, that today you got these results. 6 months later, you'll get absolutely different results. Just means that you've behaved with a different set of people. Your communication has changed because you're on site, you're off site. You got a new leader who's changed your perspective on communication. That doesn't matter. There is no right style, wrong style. Priyanka, I see you made friends. Now your similarity is style now. Yeah. Find a space. If you have a high score for style 1, come to the first 2 rows. High score for style 2, second 2 rows, third and fourth row. High score in style 3, 4 rows behind that. Because usually you guys are more. High score in style 4, go to the end. Those of you who did not bring a pen and paper, go out. That is only majority. Style 2, third row side. So sit in one of these rows, we'll understand what you want. So usually I split the room into 4. Going forward, I'm going to split it into 5. Those who didn't bring pen, go sit there. Alright?
Yeah.
Can we quickly see? We're wasting time. This was supposed to be 12 minutes time. That quickly we've gone to 15, 16 minutes. Alright? Okay. These are your styles. Style 1 is action. You can write down all your styles. Style 1 is action. Just write down action. Just write down action next to the first style. And don't bother keeping a picture, it's on the internet. If you go search for the 4 styles, you'll get it. The same photo will come in Google image. Style 1 is action. Style 2 is process. Style 3 are people. Style 4 are idea. Just write down. Against all of those styles, write down the name. Action, process, people, and idea. And by a quick show of hands, how many action-oriented communicators here? Raise your hands. Action-oriented communicators. Okay, super. How many process-oriented communicators here? Oh, because PMI, lot of process-oriented. How many people-oriented communicators here? Usually the majority. How many idea style of communicators? Very small group usually, right? Okay. So let me quickly give you a horoscope reading into your style. Okay? See if you agree with it or not. Action-oriented communicators are the ones who usually speak fast. They're the ones who get straight to the point. No bullshitting, no talking around the bush. These guys can be considered offensive also sometimes because they don't care about the surroundings. They don't care about setting context. They directly hit the nail. Action-oriented communicators are those who usually are very action-oriented. Their speaking style, their leadership style, the entire way they our body from action-oriented style. These guys have a big advantage. They can get straight to the point. If you want a Dhoni to come and finish a match, you want these action-oriented communicators to come and finish a project. They'll jump in, they'll say yes, they'll get it done, and they get this immense satisfaction after doing it. That is enough. They don't need money, salary, incentive, and all. Of course, they will take it if they give it. But generally, these guys are motivated to do things instantly because they like to see results. They want to see closure. They pick up one thing, finish it, specialize it, go on to another thing. Yes, no? Action-oriented communicators, does it match? Anyone it doesn't match with? Okay. Process-oriented communicators. Generally, people who think a lot. You're the guys who usually probably spend more time filling this questionnaire. Every question you read, you're like, yes or no? வீட்ல சண்டை வரது என்னன்னா இத வாங்கிட்டு வர சொன்னேன் இத வாங்கிட்டு வந்தா போதாடா இது எதுக்கு வேணும் எங்க சமைக்கிறேன் யார் வரா வீட்டுக்கு இந்த கேள்வி எல்லாம் வரும். Process oriented communicators generally typically are called OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. You see something untidy in one place, you will have to get down and clean it. Usually, I'm not talking about your bad day. Usually, if you're given enough time, your desks are clean. You like to keep your car clean. You don't want to keep too much unread emails in your inbox. You have different folders. This process, this person, that person. You have different folders for an email. You throw them into that box. You keep everything segmented in your life. Process-oriented communicators, when they communicate, they don't just tell you a task. They tell you how to do the task. which day to do the task, what best time to do the task. They give you a lot of reasoning and example of how the task should be done. Okay?
Do the task also.
You do the task also. So you know most of it. After process comes people. Generally, 90% of India is people style communicators. We are the sympathetic fools in the world. Whenever someone comes and appeals to our human sense, we forget about every logical reasoning in the world. We are probably appreciating, what is that Telugu actor who goes under the truck and all in his horse? Balakumara. We will appreciate his movies also because we see the character, not the logic in it. Okay? We are not fit to be engineers. We are fit to be something else more than that. I'm also a people-oriented communicator. I take great pleasure in sharing that with you. The problem with us is we don't talk process. We don't talk action. We don't talk idea. We talk people. Our director will appeal to them. Last time, invariably in any organization we do this. This is the smallest group that we will find. They're idea style of communicators. These guys are a little reserved. They don't come out of their shell. Most often they beat themselves down. They're like, I should have done this better. I can do better. Why open my mouth unnecessarily? This fellow is anyway not going to take my suggestion. I'll tell you what, idea style of communicators are the most brilliant ones that the economy needs. I met Dr. Devi Shetty from Narayana Hridayalaya in Karnataka. He said heart surgeries these days in his hospital are done by robotics, right? So you don't probably need doctors to perform heart surgeries. You need video game players to control that robot that does the surgery. So all our jobs can be replaced, except the creative thinking jobs that the idea style of communicators will possess for the future. The future depends on people like them. And in a workforce, in an organization, if you find out that your employee is an idea style of communicator, they need a little push, they need a little motivation, but those are the guys who can give you groundbreaking reality marketing ideas for the future. Now let's quickly come to a scenario. Let's say you're a project manager. You go and address a team. If you have action style of communicators in your team, you just have to tell them the end result. Dude, we usually do this project in 1 month, but the client wants it done in 4 days. I said we can do it. If we dive into it right now, nose dive, we can get it done. Action style of communicator will feel aroused. He'll feel stimulated. He'll be like, come on, sir, let's do it. He'll jump in. Okay. You use the same reasoning with the process-oriented fellow that he'll listen to everything. Okay. 1 month. Oh, 4 days. Okay. Day and night. Let me think. We have 4 people in the organization. 2 people take a break at this time. They will analyze every Tom, Dick, and Harry in that project. They will give you a nice report. That report can probably go to a museum also. That kind of report. This can be done, this cannot be done. They'll be very realistic. They'll give you a correct deadline. These guys will jump in, commit to something, will do a lot of energy, and maybe they'll also fail. Process-oriented communicators don't want to fail. They're like, if I say yes, I have to do it. I will not tell yes to something that I cannot do. I will only say yes to what I can do. They'll analyze everything. But in the time of your analysis, the action-oriented communicator would have already finished the project. You would still be analyzing, okay, today's 3rd day, we already lost 3 days. This also we have to take into account in the project. Probably happens. Process-oriented communicators and action-oriented communicators usually irritate the other people in front of them. Why? Because you are in a world of your own self. Action-oriented communicator is too fast, wants to finish the job. Process-oriented communicator is stretching it, giving reasons, finding out every micromanaging option possible. A people style of communicator, on the other hand, is getting super irritated when you talk to him. He's saying that you are not being diplomatic. He's accusing you of being overly, insensitive to his needs. He's saying this fellow is so rude. He does not even understand that I'm newly married. I want to spend some weekend time with my wife. The people style of communicator will not listen to logic, will not listen to action. You can't motivate him by saying that this has to be done immediately. To a process-oriented communicator group, a project manager usually will say, dude, they asked us to do something in 1 month, but they're now asking us to finish it in 4 days. Tell me quickly, how can we divide this? Who can head what project? Who needs to come in day shift? Who needs to come in afternoon shift? You talk like this to process-oriented communicators, they'll be very happy. They'll agree to the job, get it done. Same to reasoning you use with the people style of communicators. Nothing you know how to appeal to them? You have to go and tell them, dude, some pressure from the top. I just got married, I'm anyway not able to spend time with my wife. Now this project has to be done in 4 days. I don't know if I can even go home, That's what I said, don't worry, sir. Everything comes in with you, finish the project for you and go. People style of communicators are the ones who easily get conned by all the con artists in every signal. Every signal they'll give 5 rupees, 2 rupees. After that they'll think, hey, this fellow is walking around, that day he was crawling on the ground, he'll give you 5 rupees again. Yes, everybody appeals to your human side. But remember, You're also being misused because of the sympathy that you place in them. People's style of communicators, you don't need sympathy in your communication. You need empathy. Empathy means putting yourself into that situation also. Now let's get to the idea style of communicators. All of this commotion is happening. Idea style of communicators gone for tea break already. He is not interested in all this reasoning logic. He already has a brilliant project plan. He knows how to get this done. But he'll be like, you didn't ask me. No, I will not tell you. Correct? Sir, let's go to office. An idea style of communicator lives in a world of its own. He or she thinks, why should I unnecessarily go and tell this to someone else? If they need me, they will get me. These guys' productivity level is very high because they are seldom disturbed by other people. People style communicators, productivity zero. Always talking to other people. Right? Morning, or backseat, tomorrow morning you'll be upset. That's people style of communicators. An idea style of communicator is very clear about what he or she wants to do. But the biggest trouble that they have is starting trouble. They're very inhibited, they're perplexed, they sit in their own cocoon. So in a team, when you find an idea style of communicator, the first thing you do is to let them talk. You identify these people and you tell them, hey, why don't we listen from Priyanka? Hey, why don't we listen from Raji? Let's see what they have to say. Once they say, they start talking about all of this, then their enthusiasm levels shoot up so much that they can start contributing. Now from your side, idea style of communicators, the one thing that you should do is to remember that the world needs guys like you. And that's how you get out of it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, none of these styles are right or wrong. This exercise was to just identify where you fit, so that when you start communicating with people, you try and empathize with them in their style. So go back to your offices. The last assignment you're going to do is to try and spot idea style of communicators and process style of communicators and action style of communicators and people style of communicators and see where they fit. More importantly, where you fit. Now, those of you who have a cusp, you're gifted. You are able to adapt to two different scenarios also. That means on one side you can be an action-oriented communicator, on the other side you can also be an idea style of communicator. You have the reasoning to adapt into whichever shoes you want. That's a good style. Now, if you ask me where you need to be, nowhere is a good state to be. But depending on what project you're getting in, which country you're working in, what kind of people you're working with, you might want to assess which skill you are lagging. Go online and check for things you can do to improve your communication style. Each of these styles has a checklist that you can do to try and see if you can get into that style. Usually, they say you are a sum of the 5 people with whom you hang out with on a daily basis. So if you feel that you are a people style of communicator and you're getting too distrust with it, people are taking you for granted, you're not able to get things done, and you see a process style of communicator and you admire that person, the best way to pick up that is to start working with that person. When that person starts doing things, you try and replicate the same thing. Very simple with other styles also. All right? Let's quickly start wrapping up. Communication will work as long as you identify the weakest link in your team. He or she is the reason your team is going to be successful or unsuccessful. Identify that one person who needs coaching, that one person who needs a little extra effort, that one person who needs a little motivation. All of you together, put in some love to that 1 or 2 people, and whatever comes back to you is going to come back in multifold. All right? Let's look at a little video and start wrapping up. It's an old joke, you might have heard.
Good, send her in.
Good morning, Mr. President.
Oh, Condoleezza, nice to see you. What's happening?
Well, Mr. President, I have the report here about the new leader in China.
Wait, Condi, lay it on me.
Mr. President, who is the new leader of China?
Well, that's what I want to know.
Well, that's what I'm telling you, Mr. President.
Well, that's what I'm asking you, Condi. Who is the new leader of China?
Yes.
I mean the feller's name.
Who?
The guy in China.
Who?
The new leader of China.
Who?
The Chinaman.
Who is leading China, Mr. President?
What are you asking me for?
I'm telling you, who is leading China?
Well, I'm asking you, Condi, who is leading China?
That's the man's name.
That's whose name?
Yes.
Will you or will you not tell me the name of the new leader of China?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Arabic is in China. So is in the Middle East.
That's correct, sir.
Then who's in China?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir's in China.
No, sir.
Then who is?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
Honey, you're starting to piss me off now, and it's not because you're black neither. I need to know the name of the new leader of China, so I want you to get me the Secretary General of the United Nations on the phone.
Coffee, NN?
No thanks, and Condi, call me George. Stop with that Ebonics crap.
You want coffee?
No,
You don't want coffee?
no, but now you mention it, I could use a glass of milk. And then get me the UN.
Yes, sir.
Not yes, sir, the guy at the United Nations.
Coffee.
Milk! Will you please make that call?
And call who?
Well, who's the guy at the UN?
No, who is the guy in China?
Will you stay out of China?
Yes, sir.
And stay out of the Middle East. Just get me the guy at the UN.
Coffee.
All right, with cream and 2 sugars. Now get on the phone.
Hello. Rice here.
Rice, good idea. And get a couple of egg rolls. Maybe we should send some to the guy in China and the Middle East. Can you get Chinese to the Middle East? I don't know.
Funny adaptation like Condoleezza Rice and the Secretary of State in the US, right? I wanted to bring this out to you because we are in unknown territories. As much as your education system was in English and all of it, we're using a foreign language that we're not trained to. There's dialect, there's vocal variety, there's so many other things that you probably haven't heard of. The biggest communication problem in the language is that you're using something that you don't know. And every time you're speaking, you're like Condoleezza Rice. And on the other side, there's a George Bush who doesn't understand crap about what you're speaking. So you have to put a few things into perspective, right? So the first thing I want you to do is to keep calm and communicate. That's the first thing that you do. Whenever something goes wrong, when your communication fails, take a step back, take a deep breath, tell yourself, let's do this. Let's communicate, let's take it a little more easily, right? The next thing you do is you understand that people communicate, yes, but some of them a little differently. I am probably that one ass, zebra that's showing that ass there, right? I can also be called an ass because I'm doing things differently. You have to understand people are different. They not one shoe doesn't fit everybody. Everybody's going to be talking and communicating differently. So you identify that person who's doing something differently. He might not be wrong. He or she might still be doing things in the right way, right? Try and put yourselves in another person's shoes. This is one of the most cliches things that we reuse, abuse, and overuse, right? We tell people that you have to put yourself in other people's shoes. We seldom do. When you're communicating with your daughter, try and put yourselves in the shoes of a teenage 14-year-old. For her, Hannah Montana is best. For her, Instagram is the biggest kept secret. For her, Facebook is a conspiracy. You try and get into her shoes, not in your own shoes, and be like, in my time, there was no Facebook, you know what, she doesn't care, right? Put yourselves in that person's shoes. And always try and lose your fear. That's one thing that's going to stop you from communicating. And just like driving and swimming and a lot of other things that you do, you stop communicating once in a while, you easily go out of sync of what you're trying to do. We communicate on a daily basis, we still don't get our communication right. Because somewhere fear stops you. Last but not least, credibility is always important in your communication. You earn the trust of your team. You make sure that your communication is easy. You put less effort, you talk to them less, they get more effort into it, your output and your productivity levels start soaring, right? And finally, never assume anything. Most of the times, communication goes wrong because of this very simple thing, that you assume that the other person understood you. Or you assume that you conveyed the right message. Or you assume that the tone in which you spoke motivated them. On the other hand, he is like, right? Probably happens. So don't assume. Try and take feedback from the audience as much as possible. Stop and ask them if they understood something. Ask them to re-summarize things. And process-oriented people, when you ask them to re-summarize, don't go and micromanage them. They'll tell you whatever they have to tell. Listen to them, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, it's a wonderful little world that we live in. And I often keep saying people that communication is something that we can take too much for granted. The biggest helping hand that you can ever get is at the end of your own elbow. It's at the end of your own arm. This is the biggest helping hand you're going to get yourself. So start communicating effectively. You know what you need to do. Get back to your teams, understand the reality, and I'm sure communication is going to be a big breeze. All right? Quick questions, and right on dot. I have to end at 1:30. One question. One question. One.
You said there is a time between two sets. I have a time between people and
Okay. So generally, you don't find ties between a lot of states. You find a tie between two states. One of the things I recommend you to do is redo the questionnaire with an open mind and see if your marks change. Sometimes you've been very subconscious. You've not selected a few answers correctly. So if you still get it, nothing wrong. It just means that you have the ability to adapt into both the scenarios, right? The most rare scenarios is to get a tie between process and people. That's not something that usually matches. So if you have that, that's a good ability. That means you can build a system, you can build a team, but it also means that you can manage your people efficiently and not, you don't disregard them, you don't disrespect them. They feel these are the guys who diplomatically get things done. You can probably award yourself with that. You are process oriented, but you still don't come across as a Hitler. So that's a good thing. Does anyone have a tie between people and idea? It's only one person, right? Very, very different, because people style of communicators talk a lot. Idea style of communicators seldom talk. So you have a very unique ability as well. Anything else? One more?
You need as a manager all the 4 kind of people.
True.
And you need to know where this person is going to fit.
Absolutely.
Okay. Sometimes you will find the action-oriented person is not to give.
Absolutely,
fit.
sir.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what your
as a
trouble will
manager,
be.
you need to.
But I'll tell you what your trouble will be. I was able to be an astrologer here because I saw your assessment. You're not going to be able to run this assessment with all your employees. Over time, you're going to try and see if he fits into one of these categories. And here comes another very tough thing. If the employee has not done the sheet, and if you don't particularly know that he or she is process oriented or people oriented, don't assume, because that is going to be even more disrespectful to that person, right? Super. So I'm just a call away, a message away. Note down my phone number. Don't spam me. Don't call me in the middle of the night and ask Lord Babak Sala. If you have a genuine question, drop a WhatsApp. I am open to communicating with all of you. I enjoyed my talk here. I hope you can take back something that is effective. I'll only be happy and my soul will rest in peace if you're able to put this in action in your own team. Go back, try it out, be someone who can implement this in your own life and in your team. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Asta. Actually, we thought it's going to be a normal communication session. Actually, end up in a workshop kind of thing. Okay. I think we have planned very well to engage all and to reflect what our communication styles basically deals with, right? And last but not least, right? We have to go and try this thing, right? It should not be like Saru Uttapam person.
Yes.
So we will like to give a memento to the speaker.